What is up, YouTube? It's A&D Anime Reacts here, and today we're watching Teogonia Episode 2. We're trying to give this anime another shot. Right now, I guess what we saw so far is this main character, which I don't remember his name, which is crazy because you would think that they would be memorable, but they're not. But we're trying to give it a shot. It probably has potential, but Alexander's not too thrilled about it. But it's about this wartime kingdom where this guy has his memory from his old life about this idea of magic, but he doesn't think magic really exists. But we have all these things that seem like magic, but apparently is a part of their like religious and spiritual system. We've seen them get attacked by these different species of creatures, these macaques, which to me don't look like macaques. They're monkeys with no tails, which just doesn't make sense to me. They've been attacked by orcs. And so the humans are fighting off all these different species. I don't really know what the reason for it is. They said they're trying to overtake the human kingdom, but we don't know why. For what resources, for what reason, for land, we don't really know. All of them have these spiritual cores that they can feel, and it's like built with spiritual energy. They can build their spiritual energy by eating the cores from other creatures. I wonder if the other creatures eat the spiritual cores of humans. There's so many questions. There's so much to kind of flesh out. They're starting off really slow, but we'll see what that turns into. I'm a little bit more optimistic, but we'll see if we can catch Alexander's attention with this as we move forward.
So I'm pretty sure the cores are their hearts, because it seemed...
It's in the same spot as their hearts, but they're not treating it as their heart.
Unless that is the word for heart.
True. But if he's able to control the energy, because I guess the heart can be multiple-purposed, right?
Yeah.
And when they took the core out of the other creatures, it looked like they took it from like the abdomen or the side, where like the spleen and stuff would be. But for the humans, it happens to be where he can feel it in his chest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's universal across all the species. So I would be a little bit more hesitant to call it their heart. But that's just me.
But we do know that for some reason magic works in this world, even though it doesn't exist as a concept, which is based off.
Well, it does exist. It does exist as a concept because he calls it a fairy tale. So it means they must have heard stories of it.
It functioned as in he used magic using his spiritual power.
Yes, but he's just calling it magic. That's what he's called it in his previous life. It could be a manifestation because we know that their spiritual arts give them like extra speed and ability to do different things. So this right here could still be the same thing. It's just not meant to those chosen ones. Can't remember the name for the chosen ones. I think they call them spirit guides.
Land gods.
Land gods. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll find out. I really do want to do this because it has a lot of potential to be interesting. It just so far hasn't grabbed me yet. So let's hope that this episode does that. Anyway, without further ado, let us begin.
Yes. Let's get you guys set up and make sure that you guys can see the screen just as well as we can, and then get you started.
So
all right, let's go.
Bang.
Teogonia is the right way to pronounce it.
Here.
See, those are spirit cores.
Yeah.
And there's no chambers in there, so it can't really be a heart.
Yeah. You're right. It doesn't follow the nerve patterns. It goes up this skull. Which I guess would make sense. Yeah, let's skip this.
Boop.
So we know that from that these aren't kanji. They turned the kanji from this.
Yes.
Ooh,
Bacon.
pork boy.
See, it's in his stomach for that one.
Interesting.
That's right where on that side where his stomach would be.
Yeah. I suppose it could just correspond with different organs depending on the species. But yeah.
It's shaped like a yam. Or a kidney.
And it has a hard core to it.
I like how they say eating it and they're drinking it.
Yeah. It's like eating a coconut.
I feel refreshed as I was drinking your vitality. Tastes like bacon grease.
Such a waste.
First time.
Yes.
I've never had
Could have some ham,
myself until now.
pork belly.
It's a deep cut. I'm gonna bleed out for sure.
Apply pressure. Take off your sleeve and tie it up. Bro, what's your problem?
You would think as a warrior he would have been taught basic first aid.
Yes.
At least I'll die looking at this.
Don't be a wuss.
Yeah,
Keep
don't
trying
be
to
a
live.
wuss. Live.
Given the choice,
Live.
Where's your spite, man? Where's your refusal to die, no matter what? Huh?
Bruh.
You standing guard? The battle's long over. Do you have something on your mind or what? Oh yeah. What happened to the kid who's always with you?
You don't know the kid's name.
Well, that's how it goes. Forget the boy and move on.
Damn!
Cold.
Right? Like, I can get accepting that people die, that's one thing, but having that much apathy at the start of it.
Well, that right there shows you why his fear was to be forgotten and not being seen or
I
make
know.
his plane.
It makes sense. It's just still shocking. And like, oh my god.
Well, it's shocking, but I think that was the point, to show that like his fear has come true.
Yeah.
He didn't come back. He was like, oh well, he was worthless. He died. No camaraderie. No respect to the fact that he fought to save their kingdom just like he did. He gave his life in this worthy cause, because he could have just defected. He could have ran and not tried to fight for his kingdom. So like, there's no camaraderie. There's no respect. There's no honor between men, and it's kind of odd. So.
Well, it's not odd, I guess. This kingdom isn't. Okay, so in most cases, camaraderie would be a benefit to the military. So I can't say there's no reason that doesn't exist. But I guess it's to show that classism is like.
But all of them in there seems like they're lower class, other than the land god himself, because they're like fighting for scraps, and as you gain more like prestige and more skill sets, then you get up just a little bit more. You might get a little bit more food, but realistically, there's still like there's this haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
This gap, this chasm that even they may be getting a little bit more food, but they're here, and the other people
Yeah,
are
it's
like
not,
here.
it's not classism, it's families. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't have a family.
Yeah.
The rest of them probably do. So,
True, perhaps. Yeah, because he says the other people that were buried were orphans. So yeah, so it's the fact of family or lack thereof. So.
this system needs a rehaul. It is so inefficient.
Yes, it is.
Even if it doesn't make sense, the fact that the powerful want to stay in power, like in a very real setting where you're trying to fight, you don't want your main source to be one single person that can die in a
Yeah,
second.
that's true.
And more importantly, he seems to be royalty in essence, so
Yeah.
he should be even more valuable. It's amazing that he's even fighting on the front
Yeah.
against like these things, like the most logical. And even then, it's like they don't even allow all the royalty to fight. Like you saw in the first episode, the woman
Yeah,
can't
there's
fight
a source
either.
to fight, and he says no, you can't do that.
It's like, so you are restricting your power to such a few sources that if it dies, you are
You're
screwed.
Because we don't even know how land gods are made. So we just know that there's only one, and it happens to be, like you said, he's actually semi-royalty. And so, like, how do you make sure that if that land god dies, you have another?
Yeah, you should always have at least a couple more, or at the very least, you should be training a lower set of people that are. You can even frame it as
They
like,
can be effective even without the act of a land god, right? You should
Yeah.
have like a fighting force where, even with numbers, you can overwhelm a land god.
yeah. If I were him, I would say, I'm strong enough as I am right now. I'm going to hunt with you for, let's say, 5 times. And then each of these times, you're all going to, we're going to spread this gift around to the people who obviously, maybe even the ones who did the most work that, excluding a certain level. Like, once you're at
Yeah.
a high enough level, you stop having it, because the point is to raise.
Yeah, it lays the stand, it
else.
lays the floor. So wherever, with worst case scenario, you fall down to the floor, versus like crashing to a chasm.
Yeah. But yeah.
He could have even cauterized that wound with his fire. Now I just thought about it. He could have burned it shut.
I think he's all out of magic, though.
He just ate the spirit core, though. And magically healed and wake up.
He did not deserve this. He did not fight for it.
He did not.
I thought I died.
You are dead.
I'm alive? Wait, didn't I have a mortal
It's in your shoulder.
Yes.
It healed. How though? Wonder if eating the orc's godstone did it.
Probably.
That wasn't the kind of injury a knight's rest should heal. What's this?
What? Why was that blow considered mortal in the first place? Is there... I mean, aren't the arteries usually a little more further down?
No, you have major arteries that pass through your shoulders, but it's not on the top side, it's under here. So if you got chopped there, you might sever a few muscles and ligaments. Even the nerves are a little bit deeper than that. So worst case scenario, he might have numbness leading to like his lateral deltoids, but
Okay, but still, like, that didn't look like an artery strike.
that would have been an artery strike, not a major artery strike.
Also, if it was artery, wouldn't it be bleeding much, much worse?
Yes, probably. But they made it try to seem like he was bleeding a lot because you saw all the blood left on the tree. So he was thinking he was going to bleed out. But
Yeah.
that's something that he could have like literally fixed with just like applying pressure and covering the wound. Because the major blood vessels run on the underside, which biologically makes sense. You want to protect the major blood sources of your body.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be on the outside. It's easy to catch.
But the point is that he could have been more resourceful and could have like stanched the bleeding and could have even realistically improved the chances of survival. Like,
Yep. The only thing he probably was worried about was infection.
then again, that's probably like that's almost not really considered a factor that often in a fantasy, so you can kind of be forgiven. But I don't know. That actually might have been cool to consider that like he hasn't worried about getting infected.
Yeah, because in this world, it seems like they don't have antibiotics in like modern medicine. So it means the worst case scenario for him is getting infection and having to chop it off.
And then he is truly screwed because if he's an orphan and not down an arm,
Yeah,
that might be the worst thing. Like,
absolutely. So
You can't
for
fight
him,
them
using
anymore.
his brand new fire powers would have been a huge thing because he can sterilize and cauterize and like basically burn, close the wound, and have it being sterile. So
nice.
Something's under the ivy. But why has it got such a nostalgic feel? Something's etched into it.
Oh no, to kanji.
I think these carvings cover the entire thing. If that's the case, I'll use fire!
Are you stupid?
obviously, he's not a bright kid at all.
He just almost died from using fire, and he's gonna use fire to clear road.
All you got to do is just
Right?
pull it off. Wasteful.
I know, right? Like, if I were him, I would only ever use fire whenever you're like in danger, or even if even basic danger. Like, let's say you're fighting against another threat. Like, if you can neutralize them before they can get close to you, that is a worthy use of magical power. Because
I can't say I would only use it in dire situations. I would have tried to use it more so I can learn to control it. So I'd probably been more liberal and reckless, but I wouldn't have said, oh, let me get rid of this. Blast. I'm like,
Well-
that wouldn't make sense to me.
in this situation where he isn't in a safe place that he doesn't know of, I would be more cautious with it.
Yes.
When you're back home and you have reestablished your surroundings and like maybe your situation isn't great, but at least you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Then you could practice all you want because then
That's true. You have security, food, water, ability to get for help. Right now, you're out in the wilderness by yourself.
Yeah, so
Well, that's the worst case scenario. He does have food. He can eat the orc.
he should eat orc. But then again, even though this is a very common theme with pig-like orcs, they never seem to eat them.
Survival of the fittest.
It's just an odd thing to me. Like, why would you have it be an obvious food animal? And it's, especially, it's a pig. It isn't a boar. It's a pig.
Yes, it's a pig.
And yes,
Even if it was a boar, I would still eat it.
I know. And yes, I know that pigs are one of the weird animals that if you put it back in the wild, it will almost turn back into a boar just by nature of it, which is awesome. But the point is, it sounds like a basic pig.
Yes.
So you would expect them to be eaten.
Yes.
And that's not just me being fixated on that. I think
And I'm also thinking that if you would have burnt him, he probably would have smelled delicious.
right?
So I was just like, that smells good.
I wonder if most meat would smell delicious when cooked like that. Like, and could you have a habit of, I'm gonna eat you now. Teogonia, secret cannibal.
Yeah. Although when I've like been in like some cauterized spaces like for surgeries and stuff, burning flesh doesn't smell that great in the OR. So.
It's true. Oh,
Tribal markings.
Red marks. They're real.
what?
And they're like a divine crest, the sign of a guardian bearer.
Huh. Did the land god also had them, didn't he?
Yes, less intricate.
Huh. Okay.
It vanished.
Cause you're not worthy.
Weird. I've never seen these characters before.
So it means he's literate.
I'm so confused.
Or at
There's no
least
way-
he has seen writing before.
True.
Because theoretically, in medieval times, you wouldn't use writing for your signage, but it would be odd for you to have, like, let's say, the important stuff be written out there, and he can. So he should probably understand what writing is, even if he can't necessarily read it.
Okay.
Guardian bearer with a divine crest. These rocks look
Wait,
strange
what?
enough. Way I'm a guardian bearer before. I'm so confused. There's no way I'm a guardian bearer with a divine crest. These rocks look sturdy enough. I need to hurry and get back to everyone else.
Hashtag Superman problems.
Stones here softer somehow? Or, was that my power?
Go.
Oh, he's losing it. He's having auditory hallucinations.
Oh wow. Can't believe I did that.
Now fall back down again.
That
And do it again.
type of fall would probably kill him though. Probably break his neck.
This power, it's unbelievable. That magic seemed useful, but I think this is even better.
It is?
I wonder if it's really the power of a
Yeah, I like that too. Because that means I never have to show my magic. I can just punch people in the face before it gets that I'm dangerous. It probably consumes less of whatever he's using to kind of do those things for just a reinforcement compared to not expelling it and dispersing it.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I imagine just being able to move faster than what else would be useful as well as jump high. Like,
Yeah, most of my problems would be done probably dealt with running away at that point.
you wouldn't jump them?
Probably not. My first resort would probably be like, you're not worth my time, so I run away.
You,
And then-
who always talk about killing people with powers.
Yes. In this world, my job would mostly be running away. And then really when it's time to make an example, then I'd make a super example of them. So I'd be only extreme in extreme situations.
I do not believe you.
In this case, I would be.
I don't believe you. You have not shown that level of restraint with other shows.
Because other shows, those people don't deserve restraint. In this world, sure.
You don't know well enough about that. So I wouldn't have assumed your option was restraint immediately.
Well, in this case, it would be. For what I know right now, as the world fleshes out more, then sometimes the restraint might go away.
Okay.
When I could, so it would make sense. But when was I marked? While I was unconscious? If I really am a bearer, I'm not just stronger now. I can eat as much as I want.
That implies that drinking a whole one was all that requires to make you a bearer.
Huh.
Because before that, it was always split apart. Mm-hmm. So I guess getting the entire thing is enough to qualify you as a bearer, at least possibly.
Potentially.
That might be why they're not allowed to. They always share it, so that they can. No one ever realizes that's how you get all the power.
Again, that's stupid though. Like you already pointed out the point that like if you ever have a land god that goes down in battle and their land god is still in play, they'll wipe you out.
Right? We are acknowledging it's a stupid decision. It just might be the decision that's being made, though.
I feel like they're not that smart. I don't think that would make the most sense. Because even still, like, even if you don't have a whole bunch of them, still having 2 or 3, like you said, even the bare minimum, just having like 2 or 3 backups would make sense where you don't have the royalty out there in the front lines. You have the 2 that are not royalty out there in the front lines, and then you have the last case scenario.
Yeah.
And they're not even doing that. So I don't think they realize that just drinking one whole godstone is enough. I think that's kind of linked to the fact that he just needs to be charged up so he can you see his markings, because he was used all his spirit energy, whatever he had, his god energy, for that fire blast. And once he got recharged, then it just kind of showed up.
Huh.
I think it's more so like a recharging thing for him.
Maybe. We will see.
Because they have to describe to us how land gods are made.
Wait. Is it possible I'm not a guardian bearer, even though I've got a divine crest? I should keep this to
Guardian
myself.
bearer, yeah. I knew it was guardian something. It said spirit guardian, but a guardian bearer.
Guardianiatos.
I've tried to make a Guardian Yatos deck so many times and always get wrecked.
Is that Kai?
Kai.
Kai.
I should remember his name because Kai's my favorite Beyblader. And the OG Beyblades.
Something today, boys. Take pride in your
Drugs! Drawser!
Hold on! That means stop working!
Stop? Why?
You gonna till the whole field all by yourself?
When did I do all this work? I was so focused that I didn't notice it. At least my crust stayed hidden. I wonder if it only shows up when I'm really going all out.
There's something wrong with you, Kai. Fess up. Where'd this strength and endurance come from?
Well, I wouldn't call it wrong like that. Guess I just ate my fill of godstones.
When?
After the Banya village fight ended, a bunch of slain orcs were lying there rotting away. Must have gulped down a few dozen godstones or so.
You dozen or so? You ate that many stones?
I did, but I was hungry and in a lot of pain, so I kind of lost control.
It's no wonder you've grown stronger. And
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. So he's eaten even more than we.
I wonder if he's just lying though, because we've only seen him eat the one.
I know, but why would he say he ate a bunch of them instead of?
I think because he says that's good. My crest stayed hidden. So I think he, instead of telling him that I'm a guardian bearer, I have crests, because he doesn't know how to use them and how they show up. I think it's easy for others to believe that, oh, if the land god's the only person who can eat a full godstone, then maybe if you eat a whole bunch of them, you get stronger. Like they had the same thoughts you had.
But it's like he ate his fill, so that means he ate multiple ones.
I think he's lying.
Okay, well we'll see.
I'd also grow. Or that's what happened to someone else who binged. And you're
So I kind of lost control.
that it's no wonder you've grown stronger. And your body might also grow. Or that's what happened to someone else who binged stones.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that story as well.
Only place a person gets that many stones all to themselves is during a fierce battle. Since you saw it through, you got that incredible ability you were looking for.
Hey, stop!
That's actually nice. Like he's not jealous or anything. He's just happy he's still around.
Yeah, it was like his bloodless family,
Yeah.
which is good to see.
Positive male relationships.
Yes.
We love to see him.
Crush my head?
Elsa, what are you looking at? Did someone over there catch your eye and send you on
Ooh.
a daydream?
Preparation smooth?
Lady Jose,
Albino.
see for yourself.
That's good.
I've selected the best of the best, since everything's for grave offerings.
Right. She's albino. Her eyes are red.
Yes.
Damn. Why is she out in the sun then?
I don't know if they know the sun effects yet.
I mean, if you get sick,
Yeah, and you get burned out so easily, you should know.
I mean, you might not know that's the reason why, but you can. If your body is hurting, ignorance doesn't prevent your body from not hurting.
That's true. I think I think one of the things we always have is that back then we assumed that people were stupid, but people were very good with correlation information. Every time I go out in the sun, I can't see and it hurts. Let me not go out in the sun.
Yeah, they would always reason that this person shouldn't go out. Maybe they're cursed. Maybe it could be any
Yeah,
number
so
of
maybe the
reasons.
mechanism they wouldn't understand, but they'll know that outside with the sun equals a no-go.
Yeah, pattern recognition is still a thing. It has always been a thing.
Yeah, so people weren't stupid. They just understand mechanisms.
Uh-huh.
But why is she out in the sun? I don't know. Japanese logic. Anime logic.
Horses out here, but the crops we can grow are beautiful. It's all thanks to the deeds of our Baron and the land god that dwells within him.
Huh.
Dude,
Wait.
it's jacked.
It's in him? Then what about the other guy?
I think the other guy's his son, so maybe it can be passed on.
Maybe. So in this culture, obviously the land gods seem to be the military leaders. So fair enough.
Well, he's also, when they called him the leader, I'm assuming that's like also the king of that city. I think he's the leader of the entire city, though.
Yeah. I mean, I was assuming that too, but I'm just saying, even the king is.
Yeah.
King Carol is a land god too. It suggests that there's a correlation between power and being a land.
Yeah, literally like city states in this case.
Okay. So that would explain why the son wouldn't be the one who's fighting, and it would explain why you'd want to restrict that power. But still, like, there is no reason to not have a baseline of stronger fighters.
Yeah.
There is no reason. All you have to do is just restrict the amount that you have to the dregs of society, and still just give more to your person than the people you're training. You can still give them a substantial amount. So, like.
And if you want to satisfy them, it's because they're super strong, then you do exactly the same that the other species are doing to you, where they're trying to raid your city. You go out and raid and pillage their cities instead. So all the things you want, you go take them from other people.
You're right. But so far, we've seen them as defensive.
Yeah, they're all defensive right now. And I think it's because of the stupid decision that they're not making their lower people stronger. Like, at baseline, any orc was strong enough to grab a human head and almost pop it like a grape.
That just might also be biological differences because they're physically larger.
True.
But I do wonder, like, he did just say if you ate your full land, like, you might get bigger.
Yes, he did. Well, he said that they heard that. They never seen that was actually the case. It's like
that
a
means
myth.
there is a theoretical correlation between godstones and size. So that might suggest that the orcs and macaques might have the people eat more to get the size.
True.
Yeah, so. And also, it doesn't have to necessarily be true. It just has to be a theory that a character can act upon.
Yeah.
Because any motivation doesn't have to be real. It just has to exist.
That's very true. That's very true.
People do the dumbest shit for things they believe in.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's smart. Most of the time, it's dumb.
Absolutely.
We owe a lot to our bearer's strength. It's what protects us, and it's the reason the land's fertile.
Huh? Okay.
Good. Noble.
Is that true, or is that just believed in? Because this setting kind of gives vaguely shamanistic vibes to it, vaguely like spirituality, so it might just be possible that having the blessing might be associated with having good harvests.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I said that it seemed like to be this duality between spiritual aspects compared to magical aspects. So, like you said, it could be like a shamanistic aspect where it could be actually just magic, but adding a divine nature to it because it's just so different from everyone else.
yeah, so it is.
It's not very odd for those times where a ruler is claimed to be divine and they bring the blessings to their kingdom, which is their divine right to rule.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so that could be genuine or just could be a belief system. Both are equally as valid for storytelling, but I just wonder.
And it can be overlap too, because like the blessing, because that's why I probably call them land gods, because their powers really actually help make the ground fertile, but they use it for combat as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess in a settlement like this, which is now large, agricultural benefits would vastly outweigh the military benefits, because the more food you have, the more people you can support. But then again, the majority is still being fed to the rich families, and they are going to give them scraps. So maybe that bounty isn't as harvestful. Well, I'm curious to see what will happen if he gains power and.
Because his right now has nothing to do with like land at all. If anything, he'd be dangerous to the crops. He will burn them down all by accident.
Yeah. I'm also curious if it's manifesting as fire just by his sort of otherworldly knowledge that he's associating with. Like, and fire is a very generical magical term. It's also a very primitive thing, but tends to be more associated with destruction. But if he can theoretically use his magic however he's kind of being influenced by it, could he also have like more useful nature magic that could pop up?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know enough. I just know that fire tends to be the starter just because it's simple and it's flashy and it's pretty. And also...
And it's quite effective.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I had to pick any power, I'm like, fire probably my go-to too. I'm like...
More than earthbending? Because then you can drop people into the ground.
Yeah. In a city, it would be great because I can literally destroy buildings at a whim. I can collapse entire buildings.
Or just one asshole that you ever pissed off at. Like, every time they take a step, they drop further down.
Yep.
Down.
It's like
And they
quicksand.
walk into their grave.
Just happens that he is sticking out of the sidewalk. Like, dude, how did that happen? I don't know.
Now a soccer ball.
I would not soccer ball him, but I would let him sit there and let people look at him like, how did that even happen?
No signage for a soccer ball. Public execution in that regard.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Everybody's around again. Clear your mind and focus. Ignite fire magic!
You are not smart, my friend.
We were just talking about this. We're off.
Yes.
You stupid. Yeah, the answer is yes. I'm just amazed by it. Like, you live in a city-state. Food is precious for you,
Yes. And that was the only thing that excited you, the fact that you can get more food and now you have to burn it all down.
right? Mm-hmm. You're right. He should be incredibly food-minded and food-motivated.
Yes.
You should know that damaging crops means less for everyone. Mm-hmm. Probably not for the majority, but especially for people like him who get like
Scraps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's hope that this is just an odd choice and not meaningful.
Yes.
It worked. And without draining my spirit, which is a plus. There's no question I unlocked a power that I didn't have before.
Finger gun.
Is it a
Finger candle.
Who's over there? Just
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Is it It worked.
I'll just put my finger in my mouth.
Zip it. I want to hear what it is.
I was like,
Yes, we know you're out.
yes.
There's no question I unlocked a power that I didn't have before. But is it a god's protection or not?
Okay.
Who's over there? Just me. Lady Jose! What a surprise! Don't often see the Baron's daughter here. Your finger.
So Baron. Mm-hmm. So this is a barony. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's an English localization choice or if it's meaningful.
Don't have enough information to know.
I know.
We haven't seen anything outside of the city.
Yeah.
We don't know the bigger world around it. Besides the fact that there's demi-humans outside of them of different species within close enough proximity that raises their city constantly.
It's just interesting. The barony implies there's something bigger. Otherwise, you
Yes.
call yourself the king.
Exactly.
No one would downgrade themselves. Well, typically, anyone who has the power would not downgrade themselves.
Yes.
So whatever their culture's equivalent of king would be the option.
Uh-huh.
Not so fast. What were you doing just now? You can only go once you've told me.
Huh.
Let's see if I've got this right. You heard a tale about someone who produced flames, you tried it, and it worked.
Why'd you tell her? Well, that's probably
Because-
true. You need somebody who's smarter than you to actually run him because, quite frankly, he'd burn down the city if left to his own devices.
And I'll say that this is the person who is in charge of him. Like, if he disobeys, for all you know, he might be quartered and killed.
That's also true. Yeah.
Like, there's no reason why she can't just kill him just because she wants to.
That's fair.
So, appease the person. And I guess that means telling the truth.
That's true.
And maybe saving marginally more important than you really are, so they're less likely to do it.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's right. You heard a tale about someone who produced flames, you tried it, and it worked.
I did.
Congratulations. You've the makings of an ability user.
A what user?
People who wield mysterious powers that seem near impossible. A handful of monks have the gift too, in some special families in the central region.
Okay. So not magic.
Magic?
Please forget I brought that up.
But you know what's odd?
What?
You don't really seem tired right now. Wait, You wouldn't be tired. You're the one who ate all of those godstones after the battle.
Ah, so you did eat more.
So that's why. You aren't as fatigued from your ability because you have more spiritual energy than normal. No doubt you're stronger in various ways, yes? It's settled then. You're going to train and spar with me. With you?
Finally, someone smart enough to force him into. Okay, maybe not. Maybe he won't get any smarter, but he might get some sense beat into him.
Yes. As long as he's led by a smarter person, I think he'll be fine.
Why are you the main character? I get it's supposed to be for relatability, but just for once.
Most guys aren't that dumb, to be honest. I'm like, maybe in today's world, there are a lot dumber people, but they're not. In the past, we weren't that dumb.
Because we didn't have modern medicine.
Yes.
Modern medicine, the antidote to common sense.
Yes, you had natural selection working at its best, where all the dumb ones would die, and all the rational ones would survive.
I bet it's a good people that people won't no longer die. I'm just saying that by principle, when there is less option for mistakes, you tend to select people who won't make those mistakes.
Yes, and the only way that happens is if the dumb ones die and the smart ones live.
I know that. I'm just saying, I don't want people to die. I'm glad people are more alive right now.
That's true, but I'm just telling you how the actual biological reality.
I'm aware of the biological reality.
I understand what you mean. I know you said that you don't want people to die. You just hope that more people were actually a byproduct of the rationality and making smarter decisions.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
And it is sad.
Indeed. But again, we have some wise people who are able to channel the energy and gifts and whatever else of the people who are not so intellectually gifted. That's probably just as effective.
Yeah. Bang. Bang.
I'm really fighting a bearer.
Filled your gut with godstones and you're only this strong.
I don't know how strong I am yet, but I'm definitely going to find out. We sparring?
So, she has the power too, and she's not allowed to fight.
Well, she did make that known in the first episode. We should see it. We didn't know what that really meant in terms of like, did she actually have the markings in total? But she said, I can fight too. And the brother's like, nah, you don't have to. That's my job.
No, I mean, it's for approval that they're stupid.
Yeah. So we're learning more. So we know there's more than one land god or guardian bearer. So.
Yeah. They're such dumbasses.
Yep.
Let's go!
Teogonia.
Teogonia.
My divine crest didn't appear during training either, huh? I thought I was going pretty hard the whole time, but I guess I held back.
Hi! Could you bring me some water too?
Yeah, coming!
Clearly you weren't beaten to an inch of your life.
Clearly not.
Watch her get mad when she realized that he wasn't doing that. So you were holding back against me because I'm a girl. It's going to happen, I swear it.
We'll see. I'll bet against it just for the video's sake.
I see where this is going. I hope you're right. That'd be more interesting. That
Yes.
didn't happen.
What? You have a towel on your belt.
Oh, right, this! Here! So,
Go on.
well, I mean, okay. Guardian bearers are really strong, and right up until the two of us sparred, I thought they were equal.
That's fair. I am still weak.
No, I didn't mean like...
Anyone could tell my father and brother are both stronger than me. It all comes down to our land god's strength. If they're tough, then so are their bearers.
Huh.
That said, the guardian bearer has to train too and become stronger themselves. I lack in that regard, as you well know.
But why do you train as much as you do when there's no
Do
point?
you think women don't have to be strong because they aren't required to go into battle?
There it is. Let's see what his opinion is on this.
I think he's very Asta-esque. I don't think he really cares. I think he's more egalitarian. Egalitarian.
Egalitarian? What's egalitarian?
That's what I meant, egalitarian.
Okay.
Even female guardian because they aren't required to go into battle. Even female guardian bearers are protectors. There always comes a time for us to fight, and we do it.
That's true. My apologies.
Thank you. And bearers don't just fight. I mean, of course we get strong to win battles. But that's not the only reason. It's already that late?
They really just did that, didn't they? They said there's another reason why we get
Yes.
strong, and they just shifted the conversation.
Yes. I was like, okay, you want to let us know? Nope.
That's what I want to hear, because that
Yes.
is interesting.
Well, that's what I said. I thought it was probably like the combination of like the land fertility. They're called land gods.
It makes sense, and we've been kind of primed to believe it's based off the fertility of the land, and then because of that exists, that means there's even more reason to have more of them.
That's true.
Literally,
There's no reason not to restrict it in that case. And of course, then you still keep the strongest, the ones
you
in
can still
control.
you can still monopolize force, and it's not a bad thing. There's just no reason why you wouldn't want more of them.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't pass it when 5 warriors joining your cause,
Yeah.
but most of the reasons you wouldn't, or you wouldn't. Okay, there are cases and there's caveats, and then that's not relevant right now. But yeah.
People must start waking up. I can't allow myself to be seen. My father has no idea I train like this.
Lady Jose, why else would you get strong if not to win every fight?
I'd say more if we had time, but we don't. I know. I clean up a grave every month, and that's happening soon. Kai, you should come with me.
To clean one grave?
Yes, in the village my land gods enshrined, Edda. I'll arrange for you to accompany me there. We'll talk more then.
Sure.
He's underestimating the size of that one grave, I bet.
Probably. I think it's probably an entire mausoleum.
Yeah. Because there was no. Okay. If it was a small grave, it would have to have extreme religious or spiritual significance to warrant the princess going there.
Yeah.
If it isn't that, it has to be huge enough to warrant to. I do wonder though, does this mean that the princesses or the female land gods have other responsibilities that are just as relevant but aren't like fighting? Which I believe I believe she has to have a purpose because she doesn't seem to be getting married off, and that tends to be the other reason why women tend to not be
Yeah.
farmed. Like so, because as dumb as it is to us, there's often very pragmatic reasons why women were given those roles.
Yeah.
So there has to be something that she does.
Well, I think it has to do with what you were saying, whereas other jobs, where even though both people who have land gods have those dualities, it's best to have them specialized. And ones who can specialize using their land god's power for battle, and ones who specialize using theirs for whatever else the reason is for.
So as long as there is a reason, I can kind of understand that. And she just doesn't happen. She just doesn't seem to enjoy that, which is very fair. Like you could still want everything that society doesn't want you to do.
Yeah.
And that's like okay, absolutely. Because there is like religious like rituals or stuff that are, even if they aren't tactical, even if they aren't tactically relevant, like we don't see them have actual benefits. Spiritual benefits would just be just as like for morale, even just for morale purposes. Like,
Yeah, no, that's true.
so she does have an umbrella.
Stay on your toes.
She does. Just not when she's walking by herself.
And look at him sweating. He's great.
All of them sweating. The guy holding the spear behind him is sweating.
He seemed to have a bit more intense expression, so it's almost like
He's
she
focused.
isn't. So she isn't meant to experience sunlight, but she still did. I
It's part of her
wonder.
defiant personality.
What?
It's part of her defiant personality shows she's not weak.
I could see that happen.
Because she doesn't want people, if she's on the battlefield, she can't have someone running around with an umbrella over top of her head.
Okay, that might be why she wants to. And maybe her land god power is why she can survive the sunlight despite being albino.
Probably. That makes sense.
Because if it's.
Because it fortifies her body. If it makes like him have super healing abilities, even though he's not that bright, he can survive what he felt was a mortal wound. She can survive a few hours of sunlight.
Imagine how horrible it would be if that wasn't true. Like, it being super strong, you still can't go in the sunlight because your body is that stupid.
Well, I guess you have to become a ninja and work at night.
I know.
Become an
Like,
assassin.
Imagine learning that. Like, you have superpowers, but you're also learning you're an albino. Wouldn't you be pissed?
Yes.
Like, God damn it.
Well, you just work with what you got, right? Become an assassin.
I know, but you can still be angry at the moment.
Yes.
You stub your toe. You're allowed to curse because you're pissed off at it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it wouldn't actually be fun. Not funny in the thing, but just a humorous observation to happen.
Yes. That I have all this power and yet the sun bests me every day. Just a natural act of daylight coming out. I'm like a vampire.
No slacking off. Edda's ape territory now.
We'll be just fine. Lately, there haven't been any ape attacks there.
There's just no reason to tempt fate.
You're right. Smart one, idiot one. You don't walk into enemy territory and expect nothing to happen.
Yes.
If you didn't, it wouldn't be enemy territory.
Yes.
Although, interesting thing, you can see his spear right there is differently designed than other spears.
It is.
So well, that means it could be made of a better material, possibly, of the blade, or it could just be a different choice of like. So
Yeah.
it could be a better material. It could be this as a sign that he is of higher rank, like in battle. So like you instantly know that.
Yeah, he's like a captain or something, I think.
Yeah, he is the captain. So you look for that spear, which would also just be just as valid because being able to identify your commanding officer in the middle of a fight is very useful. Did you know who to not ignore, and to know if you hear him shouting at you, and to listen to that person.
Yeah.
Okay.
That dude in the green kimono looks so lost.
Yeah.
Everyone else looks focused except for him.
I do like how we're actually seeing diverse noses in this show, like elongated nose, more like flattened nose, and larger nose here, upturned nose. So I guess that's the one other thing. This show has good character design, or at least diverse character design.
Fate like that. Kai, you hear the rumor going around?
No?
They're saying our unit was assigned this mission because Lady Jose asked for you personally.
Ooh.
Who's they?
You all think it over. Lady Jose doesn't even know that Kai exists.
That's what you think. My man moving up in the world.
This is exciting though because it suggests that if she plays her cards right, she might be able to secretly start gaining some like higher power like that. If she asks for things and slowly gains loyalty.
Yeah.
And then I might show like, oh shit, if she has like if she can order a battalion separately from the rest of them. Just a lot of like fun stuff because suddenly you're no longer. I guess you could say that even if she can't fight, if she can still order other people to fight on her word alone, an exclusion of the actual king or the baron, that is also something that.
Yeah, that'd be more of a sway of power in terms of convincing people and swaying people to your side. That's how uprisings generally happen in general. You win the favor and courage of the people, and once the main power loses that support, it's easy to overthrow.
Yeah. So definitely fun potential.
I don't know if her desire is to have like political power though. I think
I
she
know
just
it
wants
isn't.
to-
I'm just saying like, as an observation that if she's able to like, request a certain one and then get it granted, that means that she has some level of expectation that if she asks for something, she will receive it, which is royalty, yes. But if it happens enough times, it might kind of become habit, and then it might just like, like, no second thought, sure, do that, and then eventually realize, oh wait, she can give actual orders.
Yeah.
Which, even if it isn't her goal, probably wouldn't be something she's against having. Like,
Yeah.
people listen to me. Cool. I'm not going to say no to that. Or she shouldn't say no to that.
Shouldn't.
Well, in Tuol's defense, he's not the only one who thought it was true.
I don't know if you knew, this village will
abandoned it. There's still a significant grave here, though. And the last thing we want to be toward the land gods is impious. We must pay our respects to the dead.
Weeds have taken over.
This was once a luscious field, but as you said, the land has grown barren.
Kinda happens when there's no one there to plow.
It's much more than that.
Huh?
The grace of the land god has dwindled. It can no longer enrich the soil here.
It's enriched by the god.
Oh, so we have that confirmed that it's an actual
The actual secondary effect.
understood to be have an actual tangible secondary effect that can be seemingly observed.
Grace is what allows crops to grow and thrive.
Enriched by the god's grace?
It is. Grace is what allows crops to grow and thrive. Without it, everything would just wither away.
So they don't have agriculture abilities by themselves.
No.
Huh. So that means an agricultural revolution could potentially throw over this land god thing.
Yes, if they actually figure out how to grow things without land god graces. Right now you don't see them putting like down any fertilizer or anything like that. They just plow the land, make the land soft, and then add in seeds, apparently.
Yeah. So that could be true, and also technically innovation is born off of necessity. So if you can sort of get crops that are strung just by praying to the land god versus applying fertilizer, and you can do that consistently for years upon years, there's no reason to do anything different.
Yep.
If anything, you would want to put more effort into appeasing the land god because that's has a tangible benefit, and then temples to God.
Yep.
Flynn, I'd like to take a look around the village.
Right. I'll escort you there.
Couldn't the boy go?
Me?
Did you forget?
Where are we going?
Did Kai just forget? Because she already said that when I go and do the grave thingy, we'll talk more there. Dude's like, what? What? I'm like, you don't remember that conversation?
We've established she's dumb.
Dumb and forgetful should be two different things.
But this is anime. Lower your expectations of him. If they're on the floor, they can't be hurt anymore. Unless we go to hell.
Well, there's been some shows that has done that. Mainly Rent a Girlfriend has been one of those where my expectations were here on the floor, and then they went straight to hell.
I liked that when he rescued Chizuru when he jumped into the lake for her, and I thought, hey, that's a cool thing to do. And that was a good moment. And then it never went that far again.
Nope.
You had an actual hero moment. How do you mess up having an actual hero moment?
Least favorite anime to date. And no, I will not be watching season 4.
You watched 3 seasons?
I unfortunately am sad to admit that yes, I did watch 3 seasons. The 3rd season though, I did triple speed it, so it wasn't that painful, but it was a total waste of time.
Please type F in the chat for Daquan. or F in the comments. He needs support. He has suffered so much.
I did. I took a total fail. I took a total L of that. I'll admit it. I took a total L of that.
Poor man. Poor man.
Lady Jose, what are you?
Be quiet. That was a prayer, one offered in hopes that the God's grace would gather here again. Such prayers are imperative, and only a bearer tied to the land's God can make them.
Guardian?
There we are.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you not know your own lore?
Maybe it's something like a sacred scripture or text that only like the high elites or like the epitome of the faith knows.
But you would want to seem as important as possible to your people to justify your position.
Well, they already understand that their graces would make the land fertile, so that's already kind of like the functional aspect of your survival. So that's already making you important enough that their survival depends on you.
But this isn't a reproducible thing if you don't have the power, so there's no harm in showing it.
Well, there's no harm in showing it, but obviously she's not hiding it from the other people because other people know, because they know that the graces are needed. So it's not like they're ignorant.
No, it's more that he's ignorant about this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, shouldn't he know what a prayer is?
Like you just told me he's dumb.
F this guy. Actually, no. He's not my type. Not F him.
Guardian bearers can nurture the land with their prayers?
You saw me perform the very feat yourself. And yet, because the village was abandoned, the god spirit here has weakened. So, as the guardian bearer of Edda, I'm weak too. Divine power dwells within me, but I just barely maintain this garden with the strength that I have.
No way.
Take Lag Village. Our crops grow well thanks to my father. He's extremely strong. It's not just good if a lord's powerful, it's essential. That is why my father always trains. He wants to stay strong.
Interesting.
It's also why he's trained lord's power thanks to my father. Take Lag Village. Our crops grow well thanks to my father. He's extremely strong.
Huh, okay.
It's not just good if a lord's powerful.
So that's why he's also not on the battlefield, and his son is on the battlefield instead of him.
My father always trains.
Once more.
It's essential. That is why my father.
Okay.
Our crops grow well thanks to my father.
Mm-hmm.
He's extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just good if a lord's powerful. It's essential. That is why my father always trains. He wants to stay strong. It's also why we get all the godstones we eat. Land gods reward the resilient. The stronger a guardian bearer is, the more favor they'll gain from their god. And in turn, that
And
makes
that's why she tries to strain, I guess.
So it improves our lives because
Okay, once more. Okay.
and in turn that makes the soil nice and rich,
so it improves our lives because the food is healthier.
which helps the gods. They're strengthened through us. So,
Now I understand. You train for more reasons than just winning battles.
precisely.
Nothing unusual.
Then once again, what benefit do you get from keeping the woman weak? You don't even need to have them fight. Just have them get stronger.
Yeah. So obviously she has a brain.
It's like, let's say hypothetically she gets strong enough to restore this whole area. Then you can literally reclaim the area for your people.
Yep.
And then suddenly you have more land to have even more food.
Yep, and have more people.
And really, there's no actual settlement around that would be contested that you clearly, or let me rephrase. What's the monkeys, right? It's the macaques. So clearly you do not value the macaques of people, as in you will kill them, cut them up, and eat them. So their prosperity is not on your mind, which fair enough, but that means there is no reason why you wouldn't want to reclaim this land, have a stronger god bearer, and then increase your land prosperity and do all of that stuff.
Yep.
So you should be expanding into this area.
Yeah.
And the main thing that's keeping you from doing it is keeping the woman weak, even though.
If she was stronger, she'd be able to do more.
There is no reason for it.
Unusual to report. Good work.
Wait.
Squad 1. Nothing unusual to report.
Huh.
Good work. Squad 1, stay here to guard the area. The rest of us will go with Lady Jose into the tomb.
Oh. It's a poneglyph.
Oh, we need Robin. Robin, translate the poneglyphs.
Does that mean that rock was all writing it?
Jose into the
So he is illiterate.
Yeah.
An actual gravestone of a land god.
Huh.
This is the same writing I saw in the rock in the valley.
Okay.
So then, does that mean that rock was also a land god's gravestone?
Mm-hmm.
humble servant.
So he's not illiterate. So why didn't you read the other one? I'm so confused. Kai, you need to just like give us a time skip to like when he's just like 20.
Or even they need to decide on his level of intelligence.
Yes.
Because I can fully accept him not being literate. In pre-modern society, most people aren't literate because it's an irrelevant skill set to have.
Yes.
If you're literally going to die from a monkey fighting you, there's no reason to waste time teaching you how to read and write.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes.
When do you have time to be literate then? If you really are to...
And he's an orphan, and he hasn't had money. He's poor.
It's like, that is such a huge investment of resources to have someone be able to read that text.
And so the one was this idea that when he first saw it, he's like, I haven't seen these before. And I'm like, now he's reading it.
Unless that meant that Godstone had different characters that he just didn't know.
But apparently now he knows them. He's reading it.
Yeah, you're right. They are the same. He did say they're the same characters.
Mm-hmm. And now he's reading it.
I am so confused.
So I guess magically the land god's power also gives you the ability to read.
Uh-huh.
So you get magic literacy into their language, but nothing else.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
Logdorotka.
Go back.
Touching it make it says, I, Adolin, am your humble servant. I serve the god Logdorotka. Touching it makes it readable.
Okay.
Which is such an odd thing to do. Like, you can touch it, you can suddenly read it.
Yes.
Now, it probably is land god based.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean there is no... Like, we haven't seen in books of any kind, or have we seen scrolls?
No, but apparently they exist because he compared it to the writing of his world. So he's seen it somewhere. So they have to exist somewhere.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it as an audience member, but apparently they exist.
Okay.
Okay, let's line up the offerings.
Why can't I read this side of the stone? Wait, I can make out a couple of the words, I think. Like temple and pact. They don't form a clear sentence, though.
Speak up.
Huh?
What were you mumbling to yourself?
Boobies.
Nothing really. You wouldn't care, I promise.
He is insulting. Like, so far out of all this, has she given him any indication that she wouldn't be interested in the fact he can read this text?
She would probably 100% be interested. But again, he's dumb.
dumb as bricks. Guy is so stupid.
Bro. Oh no.
Oh right, I forgot they had their own language.
I learned so much today. I never realized the reason you were determined to get stronger was for the sake of an entire village.
I'd like to rebuild it. I don't really know when, but someday for sure. After all, I was blessed by Adolin, the great land god for which Edda was named. Hence, I'm responsible. It's simple as that.
I see.
Oh, so different lands have different gods, and then...
Mm-hmm.
So she is inspired by this one,
Yes.
and then... Even more reason for why you would want to take it over.
So I guess the land god can't. A single land god can only have one guide bearer then. So it means her dad has a different one of the land that they're living on.
Yeah.
And then her brother must have one. So where's her brother's land god located?
Potentially also in the territory, because there's no reason why, like... Or maybe it's a tertiary territory that is also...
They'll probably tell us.
Yeah.
One day I'll reclaim this place. Then I'll grow all kinds of crops. Plant my favorite flowers here. And watch as people flock from the chance to live in Edda Village. It's a burden
Blushing.
here, but it's also
He's like, oh my goodness, ambition.
I'd love to help achieve your dream with you. I can build stuff. Same here.
ah, thank you.
Guardian bearers shoulder more than I thought. They have a responsibility to the land, the gods.
Yes, not just to fill their stomachs.
What about me then? What's my land? My god? My responsibility?
Must be that tree one.
We aren't alone.
Could have spoke to him and said, go.
Yeah, but so let's say hypothetically she gets this group of people to help her rebuild the territory and kind of establish something like
Yeah.
that would be fulfilling her spiritual responsibilities as the mirror. That could also maybe elevate all of them up in a higher position theoretically, because if they have,
Theoretically.
means that there's more food suddenly, and they might get a chance to partake in that food before it gets transferred over. Like, that is assuming this new land wouldn't just be annexed into their old one. It probably would be.
Probably would be.
Yeah. That's the best case. Not the best case scenario, that's the most logical scenario.
Because like even if it could be like an annexed territory where it's just like this is the main producer of food and this is the main warrior production camp, that you have the warriors coming from one to protect the rest, and then the one that feeds the rest of the annexed territory. It's kind of like just specializing the areas in your domain to optimize for everything.
Yeah, and it would also probably satisfy her, so the pod might be more inclined to agree that, because you're not fighting, but you are still fulfilling your responsibility. Like, you could easily make the argument, you're not supposed to fight, you're supposed to cultivate this land and make it even bigger, better, stronger.
Yep.
Because even then, like, I'll even send you tutors to train just so that you can sort of. You're right. There is no reason why that she can't be made to train just to increase her power, just to increase her land territory. She never actually has to fight itself.
Yep. And so it gives her a good reason to have the small people, small group or militia that needs to be there to protect them. She's training with them as well, even though she was never going on the field.
Yeah. And obviously they would be sworn to secrecy to her or something if she did help them, because you can either have me and be in as much better situation, or you can go back to pretty much fighting for scraps.
Fighting for scraps and being raided every other day.
Yeah. They might still be raided, but anyway, there's no.
But in this case, they'll probably be less raided because then their force will be more fortified. Because if you have a more well-fed force that's stronger, more resilient, has more stamina, they're a less easy weak target. Usually, you pick off the weakest ones first. You don't intentionally pick a battle with people that are stronger and cause a lot of casualties and collateral damage.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any type of sense. You're trying to go for the things that will be easy for you to kind of prop you up and give you a lot more resources.
Yeah. Okay.
Where will they attack from?
The back, sir. We think it's a group of macaques.
Right. Take the lady with your team and escape straight out the front.
On it.
Now, let's hide the grave. The rest of you head to the back and engage the beast.
Flynn, please let me fight too.
You can't. You have to return to Lag Village. This fight's too dangerous and you're too important.
Bearers do fight though.
I'm sorry, my lady, but you've never seen a real battle. So please, just go.
My squad will escort you.
There they are. Only two.
Only do you need to. That dude wants to break it, almost knock down your wall.
Stop running.
This one must have strayed from the pack.
Disrespectful.
Lady Jose, you're hacking my village, eh? Monsu! There's another one!
Disrespectful.
I'm daughter of Moloch disease, the bold Jose! Behold the power of the god in me! Yet perish!
Nope, she's about to knock your block off. Stop shaking.
Get back!
The cats were at the front waiting for them.
Throw it.
I thought he was going to throw it too. I was just like, that made the most sense.
Oh
He's been a
boy.
lot. Uh-oh. Secret.
Out.
Are you alright? Any wounds?
She's like, I saw a ghost. Okay, I think this second episode is definitely a lot better than the first one. There's a lot more questions, but a lot more information that we got.
Let's just see real quick if there's anything at the very end of it. Just probably not, but okay. Okay,
It's a preview.
so just a preview. Okay, that's fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely like this one significantly more than the last one. Like as you said, there's a lot more information we're learning about. We're getting
Yes.
more knowledge about the land god. It's I like how it's multifaceted, which is always a plus because it kind of the first one just felt
It solidifies the divine right to rule. We still don't understand how people get these land gods, how the contracts are formed. But obviously, we know there's different land gods. So there's like these, we don't know what they're called. They're called as gravestones, but we call them poneglyphs.
I call them poneglyphs.
Yeah, because they look like poneglyphs from One Piece. But yeah, apparently the poneglyphs are, we don't even know the language. The fact that people who have, I guess, land gods or some type of god connection, they can read it with touching, or at least Kai can.
Yeah.
I wish he would have actually told.
Right?
Told her.
It's like you aren't smart enough to keep stuff secret.
Yeah, I'm like, that would have been useful. So it means, I wonder, is he going to tell Josephine or Josine, whatever her name is?
Lady Josephine, I think, or Jose?
Jose, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the Phantom War leader from Fairy Tale. God. A lot has changed for him.
Yes.
I mean, in Fairy Tale, he was turned albino when they fight against Makarov.
True. Yeah, true.
I was beaten albino by my oppressor. Now I'm reborn as another albino. The Isekai, we never knew what would happen.
True.
That's actually Isekai, not his, evidently.
Yes, not his. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot. There's a lot there, and I think if they actually flesh this out, this is gonna be a really good,
Yeah,
really good
so
show.
the setting definitely feels more tangible and more real now. Like I'm still okay. There's still a lot of questions, but there's more in this actual setting that is actually being like extrapolated on. So it's like it feels more like it's an actual fantasy that you can explore. Versus some, it's like I think I remember something from my past life before we've been established what this current life is.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad about that. I assume that he is a bearer, and that's where his fire thing comes from. Although that she did call him an ability user,
Special ability user.
special ability user. So
So it means it exists in this world, so it's not necessarily magic. It's just he was calling it magic because that's what he associated with in his previous life.
this is my heaven marriage,
Yes. Pretty much.
right? All the callbacks.
Yes, all the callbacks.
We have One Piece, we have Fairy Tale, and now we have My Heavy Marriage.
Yes.
Weirdest polymerization ever.
Yes. But it has a potential, if they fuse it right, it can be OP. It can be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's interesting showing a real divine right to rule. Why people are in charge, because they are literally the sustaining power of the entire like town, city, or
Yeah.
village. So that's different, because usually you always talk about these divine rights to rule, and usually it's just because either might or other reasons. But now we have that multifaceted like blessing and grace of the land gods. You can see that not only does it provide might, but it provides like nurture and nourishing.
It might also explain why they aren't expanding more. Because if divine right rule was an actual tangible thing, it means you can't bullshit it. It means that your territory might just be actually divinely granted to you. And if you go elsewhere, people might call you out for it.
Because you don't have a pact with that land god. And so we don't even know if people can have multiple packs at once yet. So it has to be more like, it seems like you have to have more so like a collaboration. So multiple people in your family, if you want to have a familial rule, they have to make pacts with other land gods to expand their territory.
I do wonder, if you kill a land god, will you become the land god? There isn't any precedent for that, but I'm curious that might be how you would expand further.
Well, I guess they could have broached that topic from the very first episode, because the prince, killed the land god of the macaques that was fighting on the battle, and he took his god core. And his god core is bigger than the rest of everyone's god core, so I don't know what that meant in terms of the fact that you just get more spiritual energy when you kill them, and the pack just dissolves versus you actually carrying it over.
Yeah.
But I guess we haven't seen anyone try to steal a pack or break a pack.
Or I imagine it would at least be, it would be dissolved obviously because you're dead, so maybe someone else could make a pact. Presumably, you would probably make another pact with another person
in that area,
at least of that race specifically. So there might just be macaque lands that are always have macaque bearers, which is a possibility as well. Although it does bring up the question of like, because I'm curious to see how expansion will work, because we already have a good example of like we have an abandoned land that isn't being developed, even though there's absolutely every single
reason to do so.
Except the only one caveat would be if you would want to not be attacked by the macaques, but you're already being attacked by the macaques.
Anyway.
So,
well, this is different where at least if you're concentrating on one area, it's easier to defend one city than it is to defend two dispersed ones, one that's not fully populated and developed yet.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to devote a lot of energy and resources to protect the area because they're right deep in enemy territory at that point.
I know, but if they did do that, there's a tangible benefit to developing a more. You will get stronger the more you develop the area. Literally.
That's true, but that's a high risk, high reward proposition. Because what if she gets killed in one of the raids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you lose the ability to actually grow and what do you call it, develop the land.
The only other counterpoint is that purely from a pragmatic viewpoint, there is no reason for her to be a land god if you don't develop that land.
That's true. And I think she gets that. That's why she's like so adamant on trying to be strong, so that she can utilize that pragmat. Like she doesn't want to be wasted in her potential.
But so it does bring up the purpose then. For some reason, women are unexpected to fight, which there is some. Is there? Okay, in that case, what is the role? Because unless we can assume it's the basic role of child rearing and stuff, but the thing is though that royalty, like I mentioned specifically, princesses tend to have additional responsibilities heaped on top of them, either to have alliances or religious rights or any number of things. So I'm really curious to see how will that be shown more, because is it just the basic fantasy of women can't fight, or is it actually is giving the potential of it being an actually understood fantasy setting where societal structure makes sense theoretically? Because there's enough. Right now, there's enough that I'm annoyed when it's being stupid.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to phrase it. Like, there's enough potential when it does something that's dumb and illogical, it makes me annoyed.
That's fair.
But yeah, we definitely will be watching this one in the future. Like I am.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely excited about this series, and I think we pretty much covered everything on my end. Do you have any other thoughts?
My biggest hope is that Kai does not stay stupid. I hope he grows, not just in power and strength, but also in some level of common sense. He doesn't have to be wise, he doesn't have to be the sharpest crayon in the book, but he should have some common sense. He should be like the original Goku from Dragon Ball Z, where he actually grows morals and he's not completely dumb. He matures into a fighter that teaches people values, morals, or being strong for the weak. You have an ethos, a goal. Right now,
that is mostly dumb.
Yeah, well, the one that I grew up on with Toonami as a kid, Goku was not a complete, stupid person. TFS Abridged made the dumb Goku kind of canon for me, but I'm like, the Goku that I admire as a kid, the reason why he spared Frieza, the reason why he spared Vegeta and Piccolo, all these different people, because they had the potential to grow and do good. And then when it came for him to actually fight for the protection of people, he understood the risk and responsibilities that came with that. And after Super, he just became a real man child. But but yeah, hopefully he grows. He takes that original, for me, the dub form of that type of Goku, where he was never the brightest cookie in the bunch, but that core integrity and strength, I think, can be respectable.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So we will hopefully see that soon. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below.
Yes, please subscribe. You guys are watching but not subscribing. Subscribe for us. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, so tell us what you think about this anime. Did you enjoy it? Did you also drop it? Will you watch along with us? Anything at all would be great. Also, if you want to give us a little bit more support, we have our Patreon where it has listed all our videos that we have, as well as some private content, which isn't anywhere else. Right now, we're watching Digimon Frontier. It's a Digimon show from our childhood that we both really love. We're running through that. We're having a good time. Maybe you will enjoy it too. And also, this will give you access to our Discord, where you can talk with us live, chat with us, give us suggestions, maybe even like speak to us real time, and you can be the chat. I keep referencing by accident. Anyway, thank you so much, and please make sure you have a good day.
Yeah, but until the next session, see you guys later.
Wale.